What's going on, FSU football fans? So I'm just going to give a quick recap of the 2021 football season and Florida State football as a program. That's all I'm going to talk about, okay? So let's talk about 2021 real quick. The biggest elephant in the room is Jacksonville State. Now, everybody has a lot of comments to say about us losing Jacksonville State. It was a so-called quote-unquote upset. If you are living in reality and not ESPN or networks or anybody who covers Florida State football, and put that aside and live in reality, Jacksonville State was not an upset. If you pay attention to Florida State football in the last 20 years, we only had 3 seasons that reminded us of what we were in the 90s. 3 seasons. That means since 2000, we've had 17 seasons of at least 4 losses. Okay? So if that is your norm, then you expect to lose. Might I add, we haven't lost to an FCS school in history until Jacksonville State came. That is true. However, when we play Jacksonville State, we've always struggled with them. We were close to losing to them in 2009. They had Ryan Perrilloux, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this. These FCS schools do have Division I players that transfer to them that could easily start at Florida State as well, especially since we've been down. So it's not like they just getting some high school kid that barely played on the team and they just picked them up. I don't care about the FCS school. That's just a label. Look at the kind of players they're actually getting from transfers. These guys played at D1 level schools, okay? And despite us having more talent from top to bottom, it's only 11 guys that can play. So their best 11 versus our best 11, even though they might not have the depth, hey, you keep the game close and make mistakes and beat yourself up, you can lose to anybody on any given day. But here's my quick recap. In 2021, losing Jacksonville State, it didn't bother me. And I'm going to tell you why. We lost to Wake Forest also. I'm a Florida State fan since the 90s. Losing to Wake Forest was totally unacceptable and unthought of. I came from an era where beating everybody in the ACC was the norm. Dominating the ACC was like, we kind of took it for granted. It was the expectation. Anything less would have been a failure. Now, Florida State fans, I just hope we win 6 games and make a bowl game. That's the mindset now. You done went from being a perennial champion to I hope we can just make a bowl game. You're talking like an average fan. An average team with expectations. And the reality is, if we've been playing like that to where you just hope we can make a bowl game, we have bigger problems than losing to an FCS school. Losing to Wake Forest is equal to me because it's not winning the ACC. The bigger goal is to win your conference, dominate the conference, and have an opportunity to play in a championship, okay? The goal is not to have cool losses or good or bad losses. To me, a loss negates everything in college football. It doesn't matter. It's not like, if we were to beat Jacksonville State and lose to Wake Forest, our program still is in shambles. We still are underachieving. That's my point. So when you have y'all rivals like Florida Gators piling on us for losing Jacksonville State as an example, in 2021, it wasn't too long ago, Florida State fans was piling on the Gators for losing to Georgia Southern. Miami fans, they barely beat Appalachian State, but then they come and talk trash to us, but then we beat Miami the same year. So my point is, this is how we're sounding. We're like, hey, I have a better loss than you. I'm the better loser than you. That's not Florida State football. Let Miami do that. Miami is over there talking about how we lost to Jacksonville State and they beat Appalachian State and they got a win, we got a loss, so that sounds better. Let them feel like that. That's them. If you pay attention, who's the last Florida school to bring us championship to the state of Florida? Us. Now, I know UCF claiming one, but that's not a real championship. Florida State is actually the last school to bring an official championship to the state of Florida. So, we are trying to make championship football relevant again. We've dominated ACC, and Miami has not even won an ACC championship. So, in my opinion, pundits and rivals are irrelevant. We should just focus on Florida State as a program. Beating Jacksonville State or losing Jacksonville State is the least of my concerns. I think Florida State has bigger problems. I think we're in a conference that doesn't prioritize Florida State football, but prioritizes UNC and Duke basketball. I think we're in a conference that has old leadership and is not willing to adjust with the modern day times. I think that Rutgers and Vanderbilts are in a conference that make more money and they're able to make more net and revenue from football than we are. And we got bigger problems. We have coaching. We don't have coaching stability because we went through like 3 coaches in a period of like 3 years at post Jimbo. Jimbo included in those 3. So Jimbo left, that's 1. Willie Taggart left, that's 2. Now we're on our 3rd coach. And that happened all within a 5-year span. So that's no stability there. So if Jacksonville State is your biggest highlight of the recap of the 2021 season and you're not thinking about the big picture, hey man, we got bigger problems than that. You know what I mean? I don't care if we beat Jacksonville State or not. We still have mediocre play in the ACC. We still are behind on the 8-ball, and these other conferences, whether you notice it or not, they're expanding and they're getting more money. We're getting behind in that, and we're locked into a contract with the ACC till 2036. So our program needs to win. We need to win consistently and dominate and change that perception as long as we're in this pathetic conference called the ACC. Now, with that being said, my 2021 recap is going to be the same for the last 17 of 20 seasons. Until we win the big games, it doesn't matter, you know, what type of loss we lose. I'm tired of losing 4 games a year. And in the last 4 years, we've had losing seasons. So it's time to start winning. So that's my recap. You know what I mean? I'm not going to break down every game because we lost to Wake Forest. I mean, I'm sorry. That loss to me was worse than Jacksonville State, in my humble opinion, because Wake Forest, even though they, I guess, had a decent team for the ACC this particular year, I just don't. Wake Forest, man, we play them consistently. We don't play Jacksonville State consistently. So a fluke game happens. But when you play a team consistently, you are going to lose here and there. But we've been getting beat by teams like Georgia Tech and Wake Forest as a norm now. And I'm tired of it. I prioritize beating the divisional games because that actually counts within our division. We could lose to Jacksonville State and still win the ACC. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I said losing to Wake Forest, prioritize for me from a business perspective, is bigger than Jacksonville State, because we're not at a program right now and a level right now where we are expected to beat everybody. We could easily lose to people. So until we start dominating our conference, everything else is irrelevant. So in order to get to championship, you got to win your conference first. You got to have a chance. You know what I mean? So let's start looking at things from a business perspective, that we need to evolve, we need to update, and we need to really do what's best for Florida State football interests. So check out my other 2 videos. I'll post them in the description on why I feel like the ACC has been holding us back since we joined since the early 90s. I hope you enjoy these videos, all right? Go Noles, and I'll do another video about the 2022 season, my outlook on it. I don't really like making predictions, but I'll talk about it for the fans. But, yeah, I'll do another video on that. All right, over and out.